Hello, everybody. Let me adjust this a little bit. Hello, everybody. I hope you can see us and hear us okay. And I see people are coming in, which is great. And we'll give everybody another few seconds to get in here and make sure my monitor catches up. Hello, everybody. Yep, that's working okay. That's good. That's what we want. Okay, so we are on the air and we are live. So hope everybody is fine today. Let's see who's joining us right now. Well, right off the bat at the top of the list, we have Mr. Reese's himself, Russ from Quilt Meets World. And then we have Donna and Lydia. And I see people didn't let the time change freak you out. Gloria is here. Kim is here from Nova Scotia. Andy is here. Jean E, not to be mistaken for our other subscriber friend, Jeannie, is here from sunny here in the Bay Area of California. Charlotte's here. Glenna, Barb, Joanne G. Philippa is here. Hi, Philippa. Suzanne is here. Karen B is here. Already retracted a message. Oh, Karen, what are you doing? Saying nasty things. Dubrovka is here. Robert is here. Patsy's here. Sue Norfleet is here. You are welcome for the Sew Day yesterday. I got a lot done. I think a lot of other people got a lot done too as well. And Robert is also saying, and Mr. Walter, hello to you too. I don't know why. Your fan club. I mean, Lydia is here. All we need is Kay, and then you've got the whole fan club here. Jacqueline is here. Hello, Jacqueline. And yeah, I'm sure a few more people will be joining us. Now, last week, we were going to get to the topic that's in the title bar, but we never got there. And we're going to try. We're going to try to get to that topic this week, okay? Or people are going to start thinking I'm just putting up things in a title as clickbait. And well, maybe I am. But Teresa's here. Hi, Teresa. So anyways, before we get to all of that, let's all admire Walter's new shirt that he made for himself. He is very proud of it. He's done, but tell us about the special features of this shirt.
No, nothing. It's a little smaller than my other shirt.
Oh, yeah, rubbing that one in. Yeah.
And I do have the invisible pocket.
Yes.
And I put different colored buttons on the front.
Each button is a different color.
The pattern's all like spots with different colors. So I thought, well, I'll add buttons of different color on it.
Well,
so it's not that noticeable,
but it is a slimming shirt because you made it slightly smaller, and
it's an XL,
not a 2XL, which is what we are not 2XL people. It's the pattern, okay? And people are going, oh yeah, right, sure.
Yeah, normally I'll buy a large shirt, actually a medium or a large shirt, and in the store, but on patterns it seems it's depressing. The pattern, if you measure yourself and you get the patterns are often a lot bigger than what you wear off the rack. So,
and that's our story, and we're sticking to it. Yes, and Sherry's here. Hi, Sherry. And Jeannie's here. Hi, Jeannie and Brenda and Dawn, Jackie. Sue likes your shirt. So does Dubrovka. Jacqueline likes it. Branka is here. Charlotte loves the shirt. Patsy likes the shirt. Robert likes the shirt too. It's snazzy. That sounds like a Russ word. Snazzy. You know, like shenanigans. But that maybe it's catching on. Janice is here. Hello, Janice. And Jackie's here. Some patterns run smaller. Yeah, well, I guess
none of the ones that I've encountered so far. Pants patterns and shirt patterns, all the ones that I've done are bigger.
Teresa says, no worries, patterns never reflect store sizes. And Gloria likes the shirt. Snazzy, Russ says, is definitely a Russ word. Yes, it is, Russ. You come from a different time.
Snazzy sounds like an old word.
Well, Russ is an old soul. Or at least his soul's in the 1950s, I sometimes think. But whatever. And so what have I been working on? Well, I'll show you a few things. I'm just going to give you a brief look at these. I'm going to talk about these this week on the Idiot Quilter in a little bit more detail. This is my gnome quilt. It is now all quilted and bound and ready to go. Yes, it's busy, but it's fun. And this, of course, is Stephanie Stitch's pattern. It is Whirling Wonders, and it hasn't been quilted yet, but I've got it all finished, and it's on my list to get to tomorrow. Actually, I'm hoping to get it quilted tomorrow. And this is the bag. Now, you saw the wine bag that I made using the same pattern, except I eliminated one panel. So this is the matching tote bag, full size, from that pattern. It's an In the Hoop embroidery project. And this, along with the tote bag, or the wine tote bag, and I'm going to make a little pouch, zippered pouch as well. It will be a slightly different design, but I'm going to use the same colors in it, and it's a floral kind of a thing. And those three together are part of the Christmas present we're going to give to our hairdresser. And I'm really pleased with the way this tote bag turned out. I like it a lot.
I think it looks really nice.
Walter says it looks very nice. High praise, since he's a master bag maker. Gotta be careful how you say that. So that's what I've been up to. Let me return here to us. And, oh, no, I forgot one thing. And this, now, if you were on the sew day yesterday, this is what I was working on all day yesterday. This morning, I got it all put together, and this is the Nutcracker. It's an In the Hoop applique project. And I'll talk more about that and where you can get that if you're a machine embroiderer as well tomorrow. So I'm really happy with the way that one turned out too. What do you think, Walter?
It looks very nice.
Walter likes it. High praise, high approval. So there we go. And let me get out of this and get back here. And let's see. Janice is here. I think I said that already. Nancy's here. Hi, Nancy. Charlotte says, I'm enjoying watching Walter teaching Stephen how to make a shirt. Yep, and we will be carrying on with that. This past week, we did the putting in the sleeves, which using Walter's new method, which is an old method, but new to Walter. And it seemed to work out okay. We did all right. I didn't get any tucks. I think Walter was secretly hoping I would. But
no, I haven't had very many problems using that method for putting in sleeves, which is good because I used to just try and ease it in on my own. And sometimes I'd get the sleeve in, no problem. And other times I'd have tucks and curse and swear.
Well, you did have a little problem. Walter did the first sleeve. I did the second sleeve. Yeah. He showed me with the first sleeve, and there was a little problem. But
I did have a problem, yeah.
But it was solved.
But probably because I was nervous with Steve watching.
Oh, yeah, right. Yeah. Yeah, like now you know what I feel like when you're looking over my shoulder. What are you doing now? What are you doing? What's happening? Why are you doing that? Yeah, all the time. So, Jacqueline loves the gnome quilt, and Nancy likes the tote bag. Karen likes the border on the Whirling Wonder, and Gloria likes the tote bag as well. So does Jacqueline, and Charlotte loves the Nutcracker. And Colleen's here. Hello, Colleen. Hello, everyone. I had to listen to Pierre's drive before coming on. Oh, drivel before coming on. Oh, why was oh, you mean what's his face, the head of the Conservative Party? Yeah, it would be drivel. Philippa says spectacular, Stephen. Thank you, Philippa. So, okay. So that's what we've been working on. So some announcements and different things. Sewing with Stephanie and Stephen, Wednesdays as usual, blah, 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 blah. Okay, new people, always welcome. Julie's here. Hi, Julie. Thanks, Dubravka. Jacqueline says 76 watching. Smash that like button. Yes, thank you. Please hit the like button. Tickle the algorithm with that. So yeah, Sewing with Stephanie and Stephen, Wednesday. As usual, we start at, there's a bug. We've got bugs in our plants again. Okay, anyways, I digress. Squirrel. So yeah, new people are welcome. Don't be shy. Um, Nobody bites. We have a good time. Now, pop-up so days. Speaking of good times, we had that yesterday as well. And we had a fairly good turnout. I think at the height of it, we had about 30 there, 30, 31, which is always nice. Great group. Again, everybody's always welcome to any of the pop-up so days. If you wish to be on the mailing list for that, you can send me an email and I will put you on. That information's in the show notes below, my email address. But I also always post the links for it in the show notes the week before, usually as well. Now, when will be the next pop-up so day, you may be wondering? Well, we are busy this month. We're going to talk about why we're busy this month in a moment or two, but I don't think I'm going to have another pop-up so day until maybe the first Saturday in December. That may be when the next one will happen. We'll see about that, but be sure to stay tuned because I will definitely announce it. Philippa says, Walter, will you be making your fabulous Christmas bags this year?
I don't know. I've got a couple that I hadn't finished from last year
Hmm.
that I need to sew up, but I don't know if I'm planning to make those ones or sure I was going to try something a bit different this year.
Like what?
Different kind of bag. I've got all this other material that I need to use, and
Oh, why would it be different? What would it look like? What's it? What are
well,
you gonna...
I've got canvas that I want to make into
Oh,
bags.
oh, I wonder where the canvas came from. And never say no more, say no more. Isn't that from?
No, I bought it a long time ago. I bought it
Oh,
for
okay.
clothing actually,
Oh,
and it turned out to be really heavy grade.
I
And
thought it was from
I
that disastrous
think
thing
it's
we did.
better to better suited to be made into a bag.
Oh, okay. Mary's here. Hi, Mary. Julie says December. Yes, lots of your friends have December birthdays. Party time. Yes, yes, I thought of that too. As well, one of those friends of mine and of all of yours is Stephanie of Stephanie Stitches. She's not here today. I hope Stephanie's okay because she went off to the quilt festival in
Yeah.
Houston, and she did say she was planning to come to the pop-up sew day, but she wasn't, and she didn't do a live last night, Saturday night. I have a feeling she may be a little worn out from it, so she's probably resting up. But anyways, hopefully she didn't get sick or anything. So yeah, but I haven't talked to her since she got
Hmm.
back, so I don't know. But anyways, hopefully all's well there. So yeah, the pop-up so day, great time, had a lot of fun. All right, let's talk about something else. Let's talk about Hope Air. You heard me a month ago mention the fact that one of my subscribers suggested to me that I contact Glenn and Friends of Glenn and Friends Cooking YouTube channel. He's a local guy. He lives a couple of towns over from us. And we watch his YouTube channel all the time. And he also is a pilot. He has his own little plane, and he is part of this charity group called Hope Air that flies to remote areas of the province, and in fact, across Canada, actually. And they pick up people and take them free of charge for, hospital care for very serious illnesses and things like that. Which another, they don't have to pay for that because they can't afford it for one thing, and they live in, very remote areas where they don't have ready access to the health care that they need. So this person, she suggested I contact him and see if, donate quilts. So I did, and they are going to raffle off one of my quilts as a fundraiser. So I've been waiting to hear from them for about 3 weeks or so about it, and finally did. And they have a page set up for it, and anybody anywhere can buy a raffle ticket. So if you would like to win one of my quilts, and I will show you uh, where the raffle is. This is the oops, wrong button. This is what I wanted. This is the web page that's been set up for it, Hope Air. I think they're going to post a picture. They haven't done it yet. I just sent them the picture of the quilt on here as well. Tickets are $25 for one ticket, $40 for two tickets, and $100 gets you 6 tickets. And as I said, this is open to both Canadians and Americans around, and you do it all on this website as well. And the money that they're raising from the raffle of my quilt goes directly to pay for the things that they need in order to get people who need hospitalization or, you know, severe medical treatment, get them there for nothing. So, and I know there are similar programs like this in the States, whatnot. This just happens to be one here in Canada. So I was thrilled that they're putting it up for auction, and I hope they make a lot of money from that. Now I do have a picture of the quilt. You've seen it before. It's the one that was actually a Stephanie Stitches pattern, and it was called, I called it Stephanie's Ninja Stars, but I think I'm going to change the title now because it's going to Hope Air, and I'm going to change it to Propellers of Hope, I think is what I'm going to call it, unless I can come up with a better name than that. But anyways, it doesn't really matter what it's named. You know, I just have to find the picture of it. Here it is. Okay, and let's move this up here and open that there, and let's go here, and there it is. And that's the quilt. So that's the one that's up for auction. I really wish I could take better pictures of my quilts, but I really suck at taking pictures of them. I need a professional photographer. But anyways, that's it. So there. So if you'd like to win one of my quilts, then all you have to do is buy a raffle ticket. I'm not sure how long the raffle goes on for. Let me just switch out of this screen and go back to that one. That's not what you're going to see there. Excuse me, sneezes. Yeah, I'm not sure how long they're going to run this for, but I think they're going to end it closer to Christmas. I think that's why they wanted to put it up now, because of for the Christmas season, that kind of thing. So yeah, I'm very excited about the fact that they're going to put it up, you know, and I hope they make lots of money. If they make $50, I won't be happy. So I need your support, people out there. Tell your friends, tell your family. Raffle tickets make a wonderful Christmas gift. Yeah, or whatever from that. So, okay. So let's see here. Just catching up on what people are saying. 76 watching. Okay, we said that. Catching up.
Maureen suggested Stars of Hope.
Oh, Stars of Hope.
That might be good.
That's a good title.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that. I think that's the one, what we're going to call it. Stars of Hope. Stars of Hope. I like that. Thank you, Maureen. Yeah, I like that. That's better than Propellers of Hope. Propellers just doesn't trip off the tongue the same as that. So that's a very good suggestion. Thank you. Lydia likes it too. Grant says that's cool. So that's one thing. Now, another exciting thing that just developed. I'm a member of the Canadian Quilting Association. It's a national association, and every year they put on the Canadian Quilt Show, which travels around to various places in Canada. And this year, as you may have heard me talk about before, is going to be in our own backyard. It'll be in Mississauga, which is east of Toronto, very close to Toronto. A lot of people think it's part of Toronto, but it is not. And but back, I don't know, in the spring, I submitted a quilt. They were looking for quilts. They have a jigsaw puzzle. And I think that's what it was for that I submitted. But for the life of me, I can't remember. I didn't think it was my quilt, the one that I designed the pattern for, that I called When Stars Collide. But apparently they're going to publish it in their magazine that goes out to members in the spring. And they asked me some more questions about myself and things like that. And so, yeah, I'm kind of excited. I'm going to get published, but I'm really not sure what it's publishing. They have a puzzle page, an electronic puzzle page on their website. Uh, and that's, I thought at one point they were looking for calls for people to send in pictures so they could, make puzzles out of them. But that's on the electronic version of their website. This is actually a physical magazine. So they're not publishing a puzzle in that. So I don't really know. And I don't, honestly and truly, I'm getting old. I don't remember submitting my pattern to them. But in fact, I had to ask because she didn't say, the lady who I was in contact with, she didn't say what the quilt was. And I said, okay, I am. She wanted to know why I called myself the idiot quilter. So I did the whole explanation of that. And I says, and by the way, I said, what's the name of the quilt that I submitted? I said, I'm an idiot. I don't remember. She says, oh, When Stars Collide. Okay. So it's all a mystery to me. It really is. So we'll see how that works out. Because I don't really remember sending them a copy of my pattern.
Well, you must have.
But God, it's kind of scary when you don't remember things, Like, But anyways,
What's your name?
I don't know. Aloysius Mudslinger.
Who are you?
And Barb says, you could take a picture of your quilts hanging from your deck. I've thought of that, Barb. I did think of that, too. But haven't done anything with that yet. But, I bought a display thing, back a few months ago. But it's a bit of a pain. It's a portable one. It's a bit of a pain in the ass to set it up for taking a couple of pictures. And it's not only that, but the lighting is not good in our rec room where I set it up. It's the only place I've got big enough for it. But yeah, natural light is probably something you want to go for. But I'm not a very good photographer. So yeah. But anyways, it's there. Faith is here. Hi, Faith. And thank you, Judy. Thanks, Lydia. Yeah, I'm kind of thrilled with that. So the only thing that make me even more thrilled is if I entered a quilt in a show and I won a prize. That may come. I don't know. Well, at least entering in the show part. I don't know about winning the prize. I'm still waiting for the quilt that says to me, yeah, you didn't have screw up so much on this one, put it in, kind of thing. I'm actually right now the candidate for the Brooklyn Spring Fair, which is a local little fair here in our area, is the one Whirls of Wonder, or Whirling Wonders. That one, as long as I don't screw up the quilting on it. That's to be seen. So, yeah. Okay, so we've talked about So Chatty. Well, this week on So Chatty, so we sewed the sleeves onto the body of the shirt. So what are we doing now? Next?
We still have to do the side seams, which isn't really that hard. It's not that difficult to do.
Do we serge those?
Yeah, we do. It's fairly simple.
So do we sew it first, then serge it?
Sew it first, then serge it.
So like we did with...
Yeah, I'd like the sleeve and then top stitch it down. That doesn't take very much time. Anyway, and then maybe I think in that session we should do
the collar,
or at least start the collar.
And you're not giving me a whole lot of positive thoughts about doing collars.
Actually, it's not that hard. It's just a little bit tricky. There's a couple of tricky spots they have to do.
Although, mind you, I did do the sleeve in setting the sleeve. So, and that wasn't all that hard. It's a little bit fiddly, for sure. And I could definitely see how you could get a tuck.
The collar is a bit pain because it's thick, right? And you have to go over some humps and stuff like that.
Humps. Okay. Yeah, so that's what we have for you to look forward to and for me to look forward to on So Chatty on Friday. We're actually recording the So Chatties the day before to give us a little bit more time because they do take time to make them. With that,
the collar comes in 3 pieces. It's there's what they call a collar stand, which is 2 pieces, the front, and then there's the collar itself.
So anyways, that's the next stage we have to look forward to. And so then once we get the collar and that part done, is the rest of it downhill from there?
And the rest of it is just hemming the bottom and then hemming the sleeves. and then buttons and buttonholes.
Doing the buttonhole. Okay, so we're getting there. We're getting there. I still haven't decided yet at this point whether I'm going to go out on my own and try to make a shirt.
So, like, I mean, yesterday when I started this shirt, when I had it partially done, I had it done up to, I had to put the collar on. I had to put the collar on, and I had to hem the shirt and do the buttons, and I did that. And
now, when you hemmed the shirt, did you use your cover stitch machine for that?
No, I didn't today. I don't always use my cover stitch machine, but we can just do it on the regular sewing machine. It's not a problem. Well, I mean, this fabric doesn't stretch. Usually on the cover stitch machine, if it's a stretchy fabric, it's a little better to use it.
The serger does scare me a little bit because I'm afraid of putting a hole in the shirt.
The only time you really will have a problem with that is if you're doing the sleeves. When you're doing it on a curve, the fabric can tend to slip underneath the foot, and you end up cutting a hole in your sleeve.
But I didn't. We managed.
But if you're doing side seams, there's no problem.
No, that just goes straight down. Yeah. Okay, so yeah, that's what's coming up. And then after we get the shirts done, then we're going to move into some Christmas 3D embroidery project. And we haven't yet decided how we're going to work that, because we're both going to do the same project, but there's a lot of pieces. So we'll be dividing the pieces up between us and videoing this somehow around it all, but show you how from beginning to end to do one of those things, like the gingerbread houses that I've shown you before and things like that. So yeah, lots of projects coming up. Janice says, good job on inserting the sleeve. That is the hardest part for me. You did great. Yeah, it's a little tricky. It's a little tricky, but I did it. Yay! With that. I mean, the question is, am I enjoying it? Well, I'm not hating it. It's definitely different from making a quilt, and I understand now why garment sewers who have never quilted before say, oh, I could never do a quilt, it's too precise. Because I'll say to Walter, well, how accurate do I have to be here? And he goes, well, in the ballpark.
I mean, you're not in church or whatever, you're not in quilting, you have to be accurate, because all your blocks have to be the same size.
Yeah, because if you're off,
but I mean, if you're a little off doing a shirt, it's usually not a big problem unless it's a lot.
Yeah. Well, anyways, and I find this whole thing, like, I'm using feet I don't usually use, which I find a little awkward.
Whose feet are you using?
I'm using your feet, and they're ugly. Yeah, like the F foot and that, whereas I'm used to using the 1/4 inch foot for it. And then you're talking about outside of this foot is 3/8 of an inch, inside or is 5/8. And then there was that one stage. What was that for? The sleeve. And he says, oh, kind of go in between those two edges. So,
well, it used to be, I was taught when it was the guy that taught me the sewing said, actually, he started me on the quarter inch foot, the one with the guide on it.
Yeah.
To get a 1/4 inch straight down, if you were sewing straight down, to get a 1/4 inch so that your seams look straight on the outside, right? So I got lazy, and a 1/4 inch, and he was using the blind hem foot to get, like a 1/8 of an inch, whatever. So I got lazy, and I thought, okay, the F foot can do the same thing. I just use the outer edge as a guide, or I use the inner edge as a guide. So
in quilting, we can get a 1/4 inch foot. Can you get a 3/8 inch foot? I don't think you can you?
Well, the edge of a standard foot is 3/8.
Oh, okay. Yeah, well, that's right. Yeah. Well, anyways.
Or thereabouts. Like, I mean, even if you're a tiny, like if you're a scant bit out on doing a shirt and you're at 3/8 inch seams, so long as you're consistent through this whole shirt, it's not a big deal.
Anyways, it's a little nerve-wracking when you're used to using certain feet and looking at that 1/4 inch. We all know a 1/4 inch seam allowance is, kind of a thing, and then suddenly you're dealing with 3/8 and 5/8. Yeah.
or an eighth.
And I hate eighths in quilting, and people have heard me say that before. But anyways, so yeah, it's coming along. I'm learning a lot, and Dubravka says, excellent work, fast learner. You have an excellent teacher. I'm surprised that he hasn't jumped all over me and gone, let me do it. Yeah. So yeah. So Walter could teach. Just saying. Tutorial.
No.
But he doesn't want to. Whatever. Yet. Okay, so that's about shirts. What's next? Okay, Halloween. How's everybody's Halloween? We didn't have a lot of kids. So okay. I wouldn't have done it, but Walter did. All right. My idea of a happy Halloween is poisoning children. But apparently Walter didn't want to, the poor little things with allergies to peanuts, So the big bag of candy that we bought at Costco, the chocolate bars and that, Walter went through and separated out into two piles with peanuts, no peanuts. Okay.
We did that because one year or a couple of years ago, some kid came out to the door and said, "No peanuts. I don't have peanuts. No peanuts. I have a nut allergy." So
good. Well, I have an allergy to children. Bye-bye.
So I decided to separate them out. That way you didn't have to look. You could just grab stuff out of the other bowl.
So anyways, I took the big one with peanuts in it under my arm when they came to the door, and I said, now, do any of you children have peanut allergies? There wasn't one kid out of all the ones that we had.
All the 38 kids.
So. Yeah, that had a peanut allergy. They all said no. And some of them had their parents with them, and the parents said the same thing. Because I got thinking, maybe the kids think I won't get any candy if I tell them I have a peanut allergy. No, I had the other bowl. But I said to some of them, I don't want to make you sick. Yes, I do. Yes, I do. Eat lots of candy. You'll be sick. Ha ha. But no. So yeah, we only had about 38 kids. Actually, it was a nice night for a change. They were talking about rain at one point, but no rain, and it was warm-ish, which is kind of nice. But it is so boring because we don't get that many kids because they're lazy. We live in a subdivision that has lots of houses, like in our street and everything like that. Now, mind you, we don't probably have a lot of kids these days. When you see a house go up for sale, that means someone died. It's that kind of subdivision. But at the front of the subdivision are two streets of townhouses. The little buggers are too lazy, which is further to walk between houses where we live than it is for the townhouses. You can just do a blitz on that and just go boom, 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 boom. The kids have it figured out. All right. More candy per foot, distance than here. But anyways, yeah. So we had that 38. So now we got a lot of candy left over, and I separated out the stuff I don't like, which is those stupid they had a bunch of those chocolate bars in there. This was all Hershey's product. We got it at Costco. And there's these ones, cookies and creams. It's white chocolate. First of all, I want you to know there is no such thing as white chocolate. It is white candy. It is not chocolate. No one's going to convince me otherwise that if it's white, it's chocolate. It is not. Okay? And quite frankly, I'm not a fan of how it tastes, the white chocolate. So I started giving those out. Get rid of those first. I was holding back, and Russ will be very proud of me. I was holding back the M&M peanuts because I like those. And I know Russ loves them as well. But now we have all of this chocolate left over. And since we're on this diet.
I'm not eating it, so.
And I haven't been. I had a little bit on my ice cream, sprinkles, kind of a thing. The other night, I only had one little packet. And there's only, how many are in there? Like 3 in a packet. But I do want to bury my thighs in it, but
we're on this Nextdoor app at home, and I look sometimes. There were 2 people on there complaining that they left a bowl
Candy.
candy out on their porch with a sign that says "Take one piece only."
Oh, they really thought that that was going to
And
work.
on their Ring camera, saw that some kid with a big bag came up and grabbed the bowl and dumped it all in their bag, and they were upset.
The kid went, "Yay!"
What do you think? What do you think will happen if you put out a bowl
Like,
in this day
come
and
on.
age when you have porch pirates and things like that?
Yeah, if they'll steal
Seriously.
your Amazon packages, they're going to steal your candy. I mean, come on, that is ridiculous.
And it happens every year, and
Yeah.
you'd think there are people that would learn.
Well, look, those same people that are on that app, anyways, are just dumb.
Yeah, they are.
So, Dubrovka says she hates Halloween. Yeah, I'm not a fan. Although I kind of like the decorations and stuff. Well, actually, I don't hate Halloween. I just think in this day and age, Halloween is passe. That's so last century now. Because the kids don't need the candy. It's expensive, especially if you're in a neighborhood. Like for us, hey, we don't have that many kids, so we didn't have to worry about it. But it gets kind of expensive. And then there's, like I said, nut allergies and who knows what else. And then, of course, there's the ones, I always hate this. I always say it every year. They come along with the small child, the infant, with a pair of little bunny ears on its head or whatever, dressed up in its little warm snuggly there. And they're coming to the door holding the little plastic pumpkin for the candy. That kid's not eating that candy at 6 months old.
Yeah, and probably doesn't even know what's going on.
No, they don't. And that, well, the one though, this kid was a cute little guy.
Actually, there was one kid that wanted to. Okay, go ahead.
This was the one. He was
All right.
dressed up as Mario.
Oh yeah.
And I saw him coming. He was just, I don't know, he was walking, but he was probably only maybe 3, maybe 4 at the most. And it was a cute costume. He really looked like Mario from Mario Brothers, right? And we have 2 steps. They're not very high steps, but to get up to our front door. But his little legs weren't going to negotiate those. So I met him. Well, he was a going little concern because we had this big pumpkin. It's a fake one. It makes sound and stuff like that, and it's motion activated. And he was fascinated by that. But then we have double doors, and we had them opened up, and we have like glass, full-size glass storm doors in front of that. So he could see Walter sitting on our steps inside the house there, looking out. And when I opened up the door, he was making a beeline. He was coming right in to say hello. And the mother's grabbing him. No. She says he wants to do this at every place. Yeah. He wants to go in their house.
We don't want... That's not a good sign if your kid wants to go in everybody's house.
Yeah, especially when it's 2 men. You're like, hello, little boy, do you want to earn a chocolate bar? Like, yeah, like, no, excuse me, we don't touch them. No, move the kid away real quick. But anyways, he was funny. He was a cute little guy. There's no twist about it. But he wasn't that interested in the candy. In fact, his mother was holding the pumpkin. He was more interested in, let's see how you decorate. I'm coming into your house. I want to see. I'm casing the joint for electronics. My dad will rob you later. Whatever. But that one was kind of a cute little guy. But yeah, we didn't have that many. And you sit there and you look at your watch.
Yeah, well, we were sitting, or rather than sitting around the house waiting for the doorbell to ring, we were kind of watching what was going on.
Yeah. So anyways, yeah. So that was Halloween. It's just boring. I noticed that like Gabrav says she hates Halloween. Jacqueline says, have you ever been to the Texas Quilt Show? Nope. Never have. Laurel's here. Hi, Laurel.
Maybe someday, but
yeah.
With our flights, the way they
flights
cost,
are extremely expensive,
and in Canada to go to Houston or something like that.
Well, it would cost us probably $1,000 each.
Yeah, for a flight.
For a flight, and is it worth it? No. If we were going there for other reasons as well, maybe, but no.
Flights and then accommodations on top of that. And with the exchange rate in the U.S., it's expensive.
And the craziness of the United States.
It would cost us just as much to do that as it would for us to take a trip to Europe.
Yeah. Robert says, had a great wiener, loved it.
Okay.
Good for you. I'm really not sure what that means. Had a great wiener, loved it. Oh, I could do so many things with
Yeah,
that,
we
but this
could
is
do
a
that
PG
too.
show. Yeah. Russ says, you want to hear lazy kids? There were 7 kids who didn't come up my driveway for candy, and I give good candy. Yeah, I know you, Russ. You talk about you give like full-size chocolate bars, and you've got sugar candy in there and all this other stuff, enticing them to climb the hill to your house. Yeah. Well, they need to work for it. Yeah. Mary says, I had one kid reach in my bucket to grab more candy after I'd already given her a piece. I was so mad. The mother was at the curb looking at her phone and not paying attention to a rude kid. I would have just slapped her little hand and went, nope, give me that back. Goodbye. Move on. And then she, that's a mean person. Won't give me candy. I've seen that though before too. Where they just like, especially the small ones who they're I think it's like they've never been out on Halloween yet. They're that and they don't know the etiquette, so they reach right in like they figure give me
Well, I've
more.
had big kids do that before.
Well, yeah,
Yeah.
they think, yeah, I've got it well under my arm. You're getting one kid, and you're not getting to choose which one you get. I'm not. I've had that too. Kids, I don't like those. I'm gonna pick something else. Give it to a friend. Bye bye. Leave. I don't like you either. Can I give you away? So, that's the one, Barb. The cookies and cream one. Not a fan. Yep, that's the one I got rid of. Barb says, take the chocolate with you when you go to your quilt retreat in December. Already thought of that. Yep. Charlotte says, I saw a video of a kid who took the whole thing, candy and bowl. Yeah.
I mean, people are stupid enough to do that. I mean,
Well,
yeah, you think in a nice society people would know. But even when I was a kid, if you put a bowl of candy on, even when we were kids, it's pretty obvious that somebody's
well,
going to
some
grab
of them
it.
would do it, but I mean, I question the upbringing there. I mean, you knew enough that you wouldn't do that. I knew enough I
Yeah.
wouldn't do that. So, just bad manners. Cynthia says, hi guys, sorry to be late. Had 3 family members running in a marathon, son, grandson, daughter-in-law. Well, good for you, Cynthia. Sue says, we only had a few kids this year. There are so many community programs here that fewer kids go to door to door. There is something that I am definitely a proponent of. I would love to see community programs where the kids just all go to like a community center and they have music and they maybe show some fun videos and they have like some food out, some treats and things for them, maybe have a little costume contest or something like that. I think that would be well worth the whole thing. What's the matter? Your shoulders coming off?
No,
What?
I see wrinkles that I don't like.
Yeah, well, I see wrinkles I don't like either, but they're on your face. So yeah, I think that's a good idea. I think one, it's safer. I think it gets the parents more involved. I think it could be a good time, like kind of a family thing. And you want to know something? I've heard my mother talk about that when she was a kid, that they used to do that when she was a kid. Because she was in a small town and they used to have something at the arena or something like that, community center for the kids and stuff like that.
Yeah, I
So
wouldn't doubt that may have contribute to us not getting that many kids. When we first moved
yeah,
into
but
this
I don't think they
neighborhood,
have that here. I
I
don't
don't
in our
know.
community. I've
I
not
don't,
seen anything advertised about it.
I don't know. We don't belong unless they have things that are sponsored by a school or something like that. I don't know.
I don't know, maybe it's a possibility, but I didn't hear of anything like that. But I think
No.
that's a really good idea. uh Andy says we can't expect the kids to have manners when their parents don't have manners. Well, that's very true, Andy. Russ says, have you all seen the Mark Robber Halloween pranks? He had houses staged that showed the kids on the news at a later house if they took more candy than they should have.
No, I didn't see that.
No, didn't see that. Wait, I'm not. There must be. He had houses staged that showed the kids on the news at a later house if they took more candy than they should
Probably
have.
later at night.
Oh, okay. Janice says the fire department across the street had trick or trunk and Halloween fair for the children in the community. No one goes to the houses here now. I think that's a better way. Growing up in the small town I lived in, Judy says, had a Halloween party for kids at the fire station. Barb says Halloween's fun as a kid. Popcorn, balls, candied apples, peanuts in the shell. Yeah, but now you can't give that kind of stuff out because parents will throw it out because, you know, because of the urban legends about people poisoning or putting in pins and razor blades in it. And you want to know something? That is almost a urban myth about the razor blades and the apples and things. I read some various articles that said that really that hasn't happened. It may have been an isolated case, but it's not something that happens all the time. Although my parents would not, the rule was we could not have any of the candy until they got to inspect it. We couldn't have it when we were out in the street. We had to bring it home. We dumped it all out. And my mother would go through everything and say, okay, that's garbage. You're not having that. You're not having that. Having that. And then she'd pull out stuff that's garbage and found out later she was eating it.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
There was a lady that lived across the road from the school that used to make taffy all the time. Actually, she sold it during, she sold it to the kids at, you know, when you went at recess or whatever, you could buy it for 5 cents or something. And it was really good stuff. And we always used to go there all the time at Halloween and she'd give it out and it was great. But nowadays nobody would do that.
Because you don't know what.
If it's homemade, they don't take it.
That's right. Yeah.
I mean, I know some people that won't go to a potluck because the food's homemade and I don't know what.
Well, yeah. Well, my parents had some friends that were like that. Noni Noons. I don't think I've ever seen that name. I think Noni might be new to us. Well, welcome, Noni, if you are. She or he, Noni Noons, whichever, they handed out candy at our local yam shop. Owner helped customers, and I enjoyed the kids in their costume. Do you mean yarn shop or yam?
Yarn. Oh, it must have been yarn.
Says yam, though.
Yeah.
I don't know. I've never been to a yam shop. I'm not a fan of yams anyway, so even if there was one in my area, I wouldn't go. Karen says, live in a very small town, and on Wednesday had the parade, and the business downtown gave out candy. Great time. On Thursday it poured rain, but Wednesday was great. Yeah, I think more and more that should be the way it goes with that. Charlotte says, I remember when that scare was going around, hospitals were okay. I'm sure that meant something else, but your fingers got in the way. But whatever. Anyways, yeah, so what else was I going to say about that? Oh, yeah, and it also happened to be Diwali here. And so actually over top of our houses, we could see fireworks because we have a very high population of Eastern Indians that live in our area and
that have moved in the last few years.
Yeah, so. And so they fire like it's you know the celebration of light and over darkness, and they like to put up fireworks at all hours of the night. But it was kind of neat when I heard this bang bang bang. So either someone was being shot, or it was fireworks. Luckily, it was fireworks, and you could see them. That was kind of cool. But
yarn shop, she said.
Oh yeah, okay. Well, kind of figured it was probably yarn, but never know. There might be such a thing as a yam shop. I don't know. X-raying. Oh, X-raying the candy. Oh, okay. Yeah. So there you go. Let's radiate the candy for the kids first. Keeps it nice and clean. That's a good idea. So anyways, that was Halloween and that was Diwali. And yeah, Ramadama Ding Dong too. Whatever's up there. I shouldn't say that, but I did. So, Christmas is the next one, right, people? So now that Halloween is over, and not that they haven't
the Americans have Thanksgiving.
Yeah, but it runs into Christmas for them. Like, is at the end, you know, Black Friday, all that stuff. We've had
our Thanksgiving.
We've had our...
Yeah, so far in Canada, the next one's Christmas.
So the stores now and everything online will be even more. They've already started the Christmas sales. There's even Black Friday sales that were happening a week ago.
Yeah, well, actually, Canada never used to have Black Friday sales, but then they've caught on to that thing here now too. So now they have Black Friday sales too. But now they have Black Friday sales the minute Halloween ends.
Yeah. So, well, they were even before Halloween. They were having them. I was but Amazon was advertising Black
Yeah.
Friday stuff. So I mean, oh come on, businesses, like, give us a break.
And our Black Friday sales, I don't think are as good as the American ones.
No,
So.
no, they're not. The American ones are always better than that. But still, I'm not going down to the States to stand in lines for,
I don't stand in line for sales.
No.
I hate that.
No, so do I. So what we are going to be standing in line for, well, not really. On Thursday, we're finally getting our flu shot for the season from our doctor, though. She's running a clinic that day. She did last year as well. And I would much prefer to have her give me the shot than go to the local drugstore amongst all those other people that are coming in to get their flu shot and a COVID booster shot and all. And then the stupid little kids that are with them snotting up the place because, 'tis the season for kids at school to all get sick with something and pass it on to their teachers and everybody else and the grandparents and whatnot. So
yeah, Bart, but we still have Boxing Day sales, but that's after Christmas.
That's after Christmas. That's the 26th, right? But they're not that great anymore either.
They never really were. They were always a way for stores to get rid of all their Christmas stuff.
Yeah, get your Christmas wrap for 75% off.
Yeah, my parents used to do that. Used to go after Christmas and buy all kinds of stuff for the next year.
But yeah, well.
Right. Like I remember one year we went and they bought a Christmas tree at Kmart.
Well, that's
I think a Christmas tree at Kmart for $6. An artificial one.
Bargains.
We had that for years. It was an ugly tree.
I'm just putting up a couple of things here that I forgot to put up before because we're now going to get into the topic that we didn't get to last week. And at the risk of it sounding like I'm putting up clickbait, want to talk, and probably this is a good thing to talk about at this point in time. It's the scams to seniors. Now, let's face it, most of us on here today are considered seniors or close to seniors. And I am sure most of us think we're clever enough not to get caught up in any of those scams. But the scams, thanks to AI and other things, are getting much more sophisticated. And this time of the year, they all come out, So, like the most common one, or one of the most common ones, been around for a long time, is the grandparent scheme. The grandchild, grandchild calls up and goes, hi grandma, they never say a name, I'm in jail and I need bail money because I got caught drunk driving or something like this. And the grandparent goes, oh, and they never ask their name. And you would say probably, oh, well, I know the name, I know the voice of my own grandchild. Well, you want to know something? I almost got caught in one of those. It wasn't for a grandchild. It was for my nephew. But the person called up, this is a few years ago, quite a few years ago now, called up and said to me, hi, uncle. They didn't say my name, anything. Should have been the first clue. And I went, who's this? Your nephew. Don't you recognize your nephew's voice? Well, I have one nephew, or two nephews that live out west, and I hadn't seen for quite a few years at that point. So I couldn't be sure. But I fell into the trap because I turned around and I said his name. Harrison? He says, yeah. I gave his name, right? And so what? He says, I'm in a bit of trouble. Now, at the time he said that, I was thinking a different scenario in my head. I made up a whole story in my head instantaneously why he would be in trouble. And you wouldn't think that would be that easy to do, but it was. Just came at that point in time where I was vulnerable. And he says, yeah, I was drunk. I got caught driving. I was under the influence kind of a thing. And I'm in jail and I need bail money. And I was falling for it. Well, I said, well, first thing I said to him, well, why aren't you calling your father? I don't want him to know in this. Well, knowing my brother, I'm thinking, the situation, it was just all playing in what was going on at the time. And so I was taking it and I was making the story up for them in my head. And then it comes down to, yeah, I've got a lawyer. They've given me one here, and he'll be in contact about, how to get the money here and everything like that and whatnot. And he'll call you back in a moment to let you know how to do this. So I'm telling Walter. Walter says, that's a scam. Don't be doing it. And then reality, when Walter said that, reality dawned on me. I went, yeah, there's no way that he'd be calling me for money. He's out in BC. I'm in Ontario. We're 5,000 kilometers apart from each other. He's got a father. My brother would not disown his child.
You sort of said to me, well, he knows. He gave me his name. And I said, did you tell him his name?
I said the name.
And then I said, why don't you ask him what his middle name is?
Yeah. So the supposed lawyer called me back, and I said, yeah, I have a few questions for you. Like, now my brain was working. I said, what's my nephew's middle name? He hung up. Click. Yeah. But for that brief moment, I now understand how that scam can work. And, I might have fallen further for it if I hadn't had Walter standing there and saying to me, no. Okay. But a lot of times, older people are living on their own, and it appeals to your emotions and that whole bit. So easily scammed. So yeah,
you had one a couple of years ago or whatever, that you answered the phone and it said, "Oh, it's your grandson speaking," and you repeated back, "Oh, you're my grandson."
When did that happen? Yeah, with it. Well, actually, as soon as they said grandson kind of a thing, I was kind of toying with them a little bit. I was having some fun with that one because don't have any grandchildren.
Don't have any children, so how do you have a grandchildren?
Yeah. But you see, that's how they do it. They talk in generic
terms. I hear
and
about that on the news a lot, and you hear, oh yeah, they got $1,000. The next thing you know, they've got sucked them in for like several $1,000s.
Yeah. So that's one kind of very common scheme. And I know most people on here are probably saying, hey, that would never happen to me. I know about those, so I'm not going to get sucked in. But it depends on your mood. You've got to be careful about it, because if they hit you just at the right moment, you could be sucked in very easily. So never say never. Just say no. Think about it. Don't make a snap decision with it. If it's legit, you can always say to them, "Oh, you better call me back about it." They probably won't, or ask them some key questions. Yeah, well, what's your name? And they'll say, "Well, you don't remember my name, Grandma?" No, I don't. I'm old. I have short memory. What's your name? And they'll probably hang up at that point. Now, another one that really gets my goat is what I'm going to show you right now on screen. This is in Canada. This is called the Canadian Protection Plan. And it's an insurance thing you take out, and it's supposed to help you cover like death, your funeral costs and things like that. Now in Canada, they give you a generous $2,500. Well, don't give you because you're dead, but they give your family or whoever, the executor of your will or whoever's going to look after your funeral arrangements, they give you $2,500. Well, we all know
that's only if you were a participant of the CPP.
Oh, well, yeah. Well, now explain to people what CPP is here in Canada.
CPP is the Canada Pension Plan, and when you're working, you pay money into that every year, and then of course when you retire, you get to take some money back out again, and at a set rate. And if you didn't work, like my mother never did, right? She didn't get CPP because she never contributed to it. So
that's That's where that comes from. This now this one isn't.
I think this one's not necessarily directed at seniors because
No,
it's directed at there
everybody.
are medical expenses that you can have in Canada that are not included in the our general medical
Yeah.
care. And so a lot of times insurance companies will come out and try and insure you for these added expenses.
Yeah. And they have this illness insurance. So they hear cardiac protect, critical illness, cancer protect, cardiac and cancer protect, cataract or cataract or well, in Canada, these things are covered in our health insurance.
Yeah, but what isn't covered is people to take you to the appointments or stuff like that.
Yeah, okay, but usually, unless you're somebody who doesn't have a family member, like any close relatives or something,
Yeah.
you or friends, that's not really an expense
No.
you have to worry about. But the way they advertise this on TV is the first thing they say is funeral costs.
Yeah.
Okay. And they appeal to your emotion, saying, well, you don't want to leave your family with those unexpected expenses for your funeral costs. You know, the whole idea, like, I mean, personally, I'm dead. I don't care with it. But, you know, that's what they do. But here is now, this is an insurance thing, okay? So it's not like a scam like the grandparent scam. They're a legitimate business company, but they're called if you look up here in the corner, they have this little emblem, and it's called the Canada Protection Plan, and they will refer to it as CPP. And Walter just explained to you that we have CPP, Canadian Pension Plan. So for people who may not be in the know or who, aren't sure of all of this, they're thinking this is the same as it's a government thing.
Right.
They're making a link.
They're making it sound like it's a government insurance thing, and it's not.
No, it's not. So although this isn't an illegal scam kind of a thing that's there's a little bit of a scammy element in using the same. Why did they call it the Canada Protection Plan? Why is it so close to Canada Pension Plan? So they're feeding on that. Now, my parents bought this. They were in it, and they were paying monthly. It wasn't a whole lot of money. They were paying every month into it. But when I went through their finances and everything, when my father developed dementia and stuff like that, and trying to get things straightened out because their finances were a mess, this was one of the things. And I said to my mother, why have you been paying into this? Well, she says, and she quoted the commercial. I didn't want to leave you kids with a lot of expenses when we pass on and stuff like that. And says, Mom, this isn't something you have to worry about with it. I said, I'm getting rid of this. So I called this one up, and I was prepared for the hard sell that, oh, well, and all this. They gave me back the money. There wasn't a lot of money that my mother had put into it, but there was some. And they didn't give me a hard time. I said, I want to cancel that. And they gave me back the money she had paid into it. So this is, they're not really a scam when they do that, but it's just, why pick that name? You're bringing in business to yourself. So yeah, but there are things like that, and that's why I bring it up, because it's very hard to tell what is and isn't necessarily a scam, especially when they've got something like this on a website and they run commercials in the whole bit, because there are scams out there that have websites, everything from contractors and things like that. Now, here's one. This is not really a scam because I did some investigation. This was coming up on YouTube, actually, and on TV. And Canadian Snowbird Association, the CSA, which sounds very close to the CAA, which is the Canadian Automotive Association. And this has to do with travel, and so the CAA, beyond protecting, your car and things like that. Snowbirds, if you don't know what a snowbird is, they are Canadians who every year at winter time will go down to Florida. They've got a property in Florida or trailer or something, and they'll live 6 months of the year, half the year in Florida, or go to Arizona or California, different places like that. We call them snowbirds with that. And so this is offering them a type of insurance policy for like travel insurance, currency exchange. They say they'll give you the best deal when you preferred exchange rates. They don't tell you what those are. Well, they do have a compare rates thing here. I didn't look at that before. As of November, this month right now, $1 will cost you $1.40 Canadian. Well, that's not a deal.
No.
That's not a deal. If you go to one of those exchange places that they have in malls and stuff like that, you can get it for better than that. So I don't know about that. This is also a membership site. And I looked at the membership, and at least they're upfront about what it's going to cost you. And here it is. It's an annual membership, are renewable on June the 30th of each year, and they do have the rates posted. So it says save with 2 years, popular, and they've got it defaulted to 5 years, $99, and you get 1 year free. But if you buy 1 year only, it's $25, which isn't a lot of money. Lifetime membership, $325. But I don't know. Yeah, well, they're probably counting on you kicking off real soon. But they have travel insurance. Now, travel insurance is difficult when you are a senior. Now they're talking about save up to 20% with claim-free and other discounts. Well, what's 20% of what? So, this is another thing. Okay, 10,000 accidental death benefit, 5,000 relocation. But do they tell us how much?
I mean, you can get travel insurance from other places and stuff like that too. And are they actually giving you insurance, or do you get a discount on insurance?
Now, they also have like a magazine that talks about things like, they call it Bird Talk here. They talk about things to do when you're traveling, out of Nova Scotia, like, I don't know, tax rules, car insurance, visiting Mexico.
I mean, you can find out all that information just by looking it up online as well.
You don't need to be a member. Now, this isn't really a scam as in the way we think of scams, but this is another thing trying to get money out of seniors. Because travel insurance is expensive when you're a senior and all the other things, but I don't know. To me, it's just a company playing on the dollars that snowbirds have, because people who are snowbirds probably have a very nice little nest egg set aside. They have a comfortable pension from whatever they did for a living or something like that. So these people know that, these companies, and they want to tap in to that money that seniors have saved or have a good pension for. Another one is this one. I call it crap. It's called CARP. I was involved with them for a while. When I first retired, I got involved with them. I was getting their magazine. It was called Zoom Magazine, not to be confused with the online, the video thing.
Actually, there is a similar organization in the U.S., and it's called AARP, American Association of Retired People.
Now, this one puts you in contact with businesses for seniors, insurance, travel agents. This is a conduit to other businesses that want your money. And the reason that I do not support this one at all is because it's what I would call a legitimate scam. They're not doing anything against the law, but they want to get your senior dollars. I was involved with the launch of the local chapter of CARP here as a volunteer. And they had a couple of bigwigs from head office come down and did this couple of hour seminar for people about it. Oh my God, they tried to sell people in the room everything under the sun and make them panic that they were going to, like, their money, they could make their money grow, that they could do all these things for them and everything like that. And it was a real hard sale because this is a membership thing. You have to join it. And I'm not sure what it costs a year. Well, that's a
I don't think it was very expensive, but
it wasn't very expensive, but there was other things, and you get all these
you
things
get
on
all-
mailing lists from.
you get all these benefits like hotel
Yeah, I can't get into it.
discounts or all kinds of other things, supposedly, if you were a member of CARP. And you can get hotel discounts as being a member of anything almost. But, like they were doing all that stuff. And they had this annual show in Toronto, and we went there. And during the annual show, almost all the people that were there were representatives of funeral homes
Yeah,
trying to sell you a funeral package.
but there were others too, like travel for seniors, cruises, river cruises, hotels, and things like that. And it wasn't that home improvements and things like that. And it wasn't that you were getting any, they were trying to say that if you were a member of CARP, you would get a sizable discount. Not really. 15% off. That hardly covers the tax. Here in Ontario, our tax is 13%, our sales tax, our GST. So, yeah. But this is what I call legitimate scams. They're not illegal, buyer beware, but they're trying to get your money. Because they figure certain part of seniors, of the senior group, have, what do you call it? Not
More
burnable
disposable.
cash. That's it. That's the term. Disposable cash, disposable income, and that's how they suck you right in. It's it's not. It used to be an untapped market because they figured old people didn't have any money, and then there's things like other legitimate. So I started off here with an illegitimate scam. Now I'm talking about legitimate scam-like things. Okay. For example, there's something called a reverse mortgage. Okay. Which basically, I don't really understand.
Well,
the concept.
basically what it is you're taking a loan out against your house. And instead of paying down your house.
So it's like an equity loan.
Yeah. So it's paying you out a certain amount of money, but all you're doing is increasing a loan on your house. And then they'll charge you a ridiculous interest rate on that. So what ends up happening is if you have your house paid for and then you take out this loan or whatever, you're getting an increasing loan. It's paying you money out of your property, and they have it becomes a lien against your property, and eventually they own your house.
Yeah. So, yeah, not good. And they appeal to you on, like, the commercials I see on TV for this. Wouldn't it be nice to be able to go on a nice vacation? Or wouldn't it be nice to do some improvements to your home? Or wouldn't it be nice to give those grandchildren, things that, that would basically playing on your emotions, like give the grandkids some stuff and all that kind of thing. So it's legit, but it has a scam element.
Financial advisors definitely tell you not to do that.
Yeah. And then we've got the store discounts. Let's bring it down to something that happens every day. The 55 plus, or some stores at 65, you get a discount. Okay, we have a drugstore chain. You've heard us talk about it here in Canada called Shoppers Drug Mart. Next to Tim Hortons, there's one of these on every corner. Okay, they're owned by a massive supermarket chain called Loblaws, which is owned by one of the richest families in Canada, the Westons, who are pricks, quite frankly. They have all the money in the world, and they're not stopping there. They never have enough. And so they own this chain of drugstores. So they have discount for seniors, but not every day. It used to be, they may have increased it, but it used to be one day a month. I know because my mother loved Shoppers Drug Mart. And when she was living in the apartment, I used to take her on Senior's Day to Shoppers Drug Mart so she'd get her makeup and everything else that she wanted to buy. Funny thing was this, anything that she wanted to buy, like your usual products that you might wait, like shampoo, hairspray, depends, whatever. Those are all on sale when you went in. You couldn't use the seniors discount. And the sale wasn't that great. It
Yeah,
might be.
your seniors discount was only good for regularly priced items.
And Shoppers Drug Mart prices on their stuff are astronomically high.
Yeah.
For any of that kind of stuff.
So anyway,
but
yeah, the regular priced items are expensive, and then but then they put almost everything on sale on Seniors Day. So
yeah, so there was really no savings to be had with that kind of thing. Well, that's a scam to get you in the store.
There's also scams going around that people are going around to houses and they want to inspect your water heater or your furnace.
Yeah,
or
that was the
like
next
that.
one.
And what happens is they get into a senior's house and they say, "Oh, there's something really bad wrong with your furnace, or something really bad wrong with your water heater or whatever." And then they'll come in and put a new water heater, and then you end up signing something that basically takes a lien out against your house, and they charge you some astronomical amount of money every month for this item, and it ends up that what you've signed as a contract for like 99 years or something like that.
It just goes on forever. It never ends with it. You've paid for that new furnace, new roof, whatever, 12 times over, and you keep paying for it.
Yeah, and they prey on, let's say, seniors like little old ladies that have lost their husbands, and their husbands did all their finances and they don't really know any better.
Or their husbands looked after the maintenance of the house in that term, like the furnaces, the roof, and stuff like that. And, she doesn't know about that because that was her husband's department, kind of a thing. And if you don't have family living nearby, kids or something that can help you out with it, or in some cases the kids don't care, or you don't want to, or they don't want to bother the children about it.
Yeah, they didn't want to bother the children. And there was a recent scam of somebody in the town next to us that it was actually a man, and he was on his own, but he had some dementia and that, and he signed one of these contracts, and their kids were finally caught wind of it, and he said he didn't want to bother the kids on it. And they caught wind that he had this contract on his house, and they were going to take this whoever he signed it with were trying to take his house away from him.
Yeah. And here's a word of advice. If you have children, okay, bother them. I don't know what your relationship is with your kids, but if you have a decent relationship with your children will want to help in terms of that. Don't be self-sacrificing. You raised them, you looked after them, you did all kinds of things for those little buggers. You make them pay the price. You make them help you with that, okay? And that's another type of scam, and this is one that happens close at home, okay? And some of you are going to get upset with me, and you're going to say, you don't know what you're talking about because you don't have any children and you don't have any grandchildren. Children scam, the babysitter scam. I have heard so many people who are grandparents who get dumped on to babysit the kids at the drop of everything. That the kids don't take into consideration that their parents might have a life, and they figured they're a built-in babysitter and can just drop the kids off whenever they want. Now, they're playing on your emotions because you love your grandchildren, don't you? And you like to see your grandchildren. Of course you do. I get that part of it. But when I hear people say, oh, I really wanted to go to that, but I can't. I got to look after little Johnny because his parents have to work that day. Or another one that I've heard before is Walter knows somebody where they there she was
Yeah,
one about
the lady
you know,
I did sewing with, she was going to come to dinner with us, a bunch of us, and all of a sudden, at the last minute, she let us know that she wouldn't be able to come with us because her daughter and her husband needed a night out, and were going out to dinner themselves, and she ended up having to babysit the grandchild. So she had to cancel her plans to go out with us so that she could look over after the grandchild so their kids could go out.
and it wasn't like it was an emergency. An emergency is different, okay? But that wasn't an emergency, okay? They're your children's children. It's their responsibility. Get a goddamn babysitter, for God's sakes. That's what my parents used to do with us. Oh, yeah, I know now. Well, the world is such a dangerous place, and you don't know what that babysitter's going to. You could go home and find your children diced up and in a blender, kind of a thing. Well, you do have to vet them. You just don't hand it over to the guy on the street, kind of a thing, to look after your children. But common sense does say. But I hate, and you guys have heard me say this on that, one of the excuses that I will not accept for one of my retreats when you sign up for it is that one. Oh, well, I've got to look after my grandchildren. No. You tell your family, I have plans. You're a human being. You have a life. Your life is not to be given up totally for those kids. If you're doing that, you have a problem, okay? And you deserve to basically have a miserable life with that because you brought it on yourself.
Yeah, like
okay?
I heard at the gym one year, there was a couple of guys talking that said their kids had a newborn, brand new, like just given
that's
birth.
what a newborn means, like popped it out.
So he says he was really upset because his wife said that she would do it, is look after the newborn for a week because their kids were stressed and they were going to go on vacation for a week to some Caribbean island for a week and he says, we're going to be looking after a newborn. And he says, I was really mad at my wife, he said, that she accepted that because he said they should be responsible. He says, I was responsible to look after all my kids when they were young and newborn. They should be too.
Yeah. But, it's this entitlement that these young parents have today, like young kids, like when they move back into the house and take over your basement because they're saving for their own house. Okay, well, whatever. You do you. If that's working out for you and that's fine, that's great. But I don't want to hear it and they do. And this is the thing that gets my goat even more. I hear people complain about it though. Then why did you put yourself in that situation? And I have said that a few times. And the answer I get is, well, I wanted to help them out. And like there's a lady at one of my quilt stores that I go to. She was talking about her children. They had bought a house. They had a nice house. They both had really good jobs. It was a great house, but they decided they were going to sell it. So they sold it, but they didn't find anything else to live in. Okay, why did you sell it before you had something to live in? So they moved in with her. She thought it was only going to be for a month. It was over a year.
Yeah, like we had other friends where they had a son move in with them, and it was only supposed to be for a period of time, and then they ended up squandering all the money they were saving.
Yeah.
And they ended up kicking the son out, and then he decided he wasn't going to speak to his parents anymore.
And you see, that in a sense is a type of scam. It's maybe a more subliminal type.
It's more of a senior abuse, I think.
Yeah, senior abuse. Actually, that's what it is. But from your own family. So scams happen from without and from within a little bit. And then back to the door-to-door sales for home improvements. People come to your door and they're, this is the line, and they use this on especially older people, but they use it on a lot of people. Oh, we were just in your neighborhood and we're sealing the driveway, or we're fixing the roof of your neighbors and everything. And because we're here anyways, we can give you a really good price for that. Well, if you're somebody living on your own, you're an older person, or even if you're your husband, your wife are still with you and whatnot, you've probably looked at your husband and go, we probably need to get something done with that roof. And suddenly they show up on your doorstep and, oh, we could get a really good price. And they make it sound like you're going to have FOMO because they're offering this to you right now. It's a limited time offer. You know how that works. And so you start to panic because you may have been already thinking of that. And that's what they're playing on as well. You have to have a cool head. You have to say, well, thank you. Do you have a business card you can leave me or a brochure? I'll look into that. Thanks very much for the information. Bye bye.
Yeah, like I heard or a few months ago, the lady across the road talking to some guy, and she's senior, she's in her 90s, and she
It still cuts her own grass.
yeah, still cuts her own grass, and she was talking to some guy at the door, and he goes, "Oh yeah, we can go have a look at that for you." He says, "But you never know, you might need a new roof or something like that." And I didn't know what it was about, but I heard that. I went over to her and I said, I overheard the guy talking to you, and I said, I thought maybe you should, be careful who you're going to hire and stuff like that if you make sure that you know what you're doing. And she goes, yeah. And she said to me, I'm very independent. I didn't want to bother my son. And I said, no, I think you should ask your son and go through your son with that, because make sure that he knows that you're doing that just in case you run into some problems.
Yeah. So you see, and they figure you're old.
And she thanked me. She says, thank you for, I said, no, I'm sure your son wants to know that that's what you're doing, and make sure that you don't get somebody in that suddenly says to you, oh yeah, well, this isn't right and that's not right. We're going to have to start, we have to redo your entire roof or whatever. Well, the roofs on the houses that we're in are very expensive. So,
yeah.
And next thing you know, you've got people trying to scam you out of money.
Yeah. And may not necessarily be even doing the work
it turned out it was okay. It was legitimate in this case. But you never know.
No, because you hear of all kinds of stories where it's not legitimate and where they've just absconded with the money and that's it. And another type talking about absconding with your money are investment schemes. And again, because they feel that there's a whole untapped market out there of disposable income amongst seniors, they are trying to make this, well, wouldn't it be nice if you just put in a few dollars into this plan? It'll grow 10 times within the next year or two and the whole bit. And you hear about those ones on the news all the time. They've been scammed out of like $30,000, $50,000, the whole bit. Their savings is gone.
There's a guy that here in Canada called the Crypto King. And he was a young guy that was telling people that he could get a 50% return on their money and, within a couple of months or something like that. And people got sucked in, and they would give their whole life savings to this guy, thinking he is an investment manager. And he was only like a 20-year-old kid. And because they were going to get good returns on their money. And there were all kinds of people here that, invested $100,000, $60,000 into this kid. And all he was doing was going out and spending their money.
Yeah, and
on
in fact,
luxury cars.
He was pretty arrogant about it because he was posting pictures on social media of his new cars and his extravagant holidays and everything that he was doing with it. Bit of an idiot. Really, too, for that kind of thing. But you see, the bottom line of why I want to talk about this is because it's also when I saw this ad for this snowbird thing that we were talking about earlier, and I'm thinking, here is another one of these scams trying to get older people's money. And we worked very hard for our money. We had jobs that we paid into very good pension plans. We are comfortable. We are not rich by any means of the imagination here, or any what is the term? I can't. Words fail me. But whatever.
We're not rich. We get by and stuff like that.
But we also worked hard for that money, and we were thoughtful about what we did with the money over the years. So so now we can afford to do within reason the things we want to do within reason. We're lucky. well, we're not completely lucky. It wasn't just luck of the draw. Like I said, we planned for that. But other people aren't so lucky or in that situation. And to have someone come in and promise them the sun and the moon for a few bucks and take off with their what little money they may have, that's just criminal. And the thing is, you can go to the police about that, but they can't do a bloody thing. If they even will do anything, they'll put it off to their fraud unit or something like that. But no, and this is what these criminals or these scammers know as well. So let's just finish up by looking at what people are saying, because I'm sure there's been some discussion. Colleen says a couple on tourist visas were caught here in the Maritimes. Several incidents occurred, but the RCMP got involved in most of them.
I think they were scamming people.
Yeah, probably scamming people, yeah, with it. Patsy says, I was told to never answer yes to a question because they can use that term and voice imprint for other purposes. Oh, that's interesting. Didn't know that, but that doesn't surprise me. Andy says, my favorite was the time I won a prize. In order to claim it, I had to sit through a timeshare president. Oh, yeah. Who hasn't been through one of those kind of things? Or, you know,
sell.
or they've got like a vacuum or something, and that costs like 12 times more than the vacuum is worth and the whole bit, but you're going to get 3 nights and 2 days.
Yeah, like the guy that came
Yes.
to the door to sell you meat.
Oh, yeah.
Free hamburger.
Yeah. Got its lump of free hamburger. I knew it was a scam, but
you could get on this program. They gave you organic fed beef and then you get a freezer order for $4,000.
yeah. But I was just curious to see what that was all about. That was a little different. It was legit, but it was like, yeah, no. And his free hamburger.
Nutrifarms, that's what they were called.
Well, the free hamburger wasn't that tasty. But Barb says a bigger scam is furnace water heaters. They want you to rent rather than buy the furnace, etc. Yeah. My parents got caught in that one.
Yeah, but there's ones where they get you to sign a contract and you cannot get out of it.
Yeah. Yeah, well, that's what Barb just said here.
Yeah.
But can't you cancel a contract or within a certain period?
Well, if it was a legitimate business, you could.
You could.
But these people are coming around and they're not legitimate businesses.
And a lot of times they come around in here in Canada and they'll tell you, oh, yeah, you would qualify to get $5,000 back from the government because it's part of their energy saving program and all this stuff. And there are programs like that come up every now and then. But there are restrictions on it, and they're not telling you what those restrictions are, and you're probably not going to get that much back with it. They'll absorb the business will take that whatever you'd get back from it. Yeah. So yeah. Barb says grandparents need to speak up and say they cannot babysit. Yes, you do need to do that. Tracy says, after all, there's still fabric that needs to be bought. That's for sure, Tracy. Yeah. And Andy says, more reasons for me to prefer horses and dogs to people.
Yeah.
And Barb says, Walter, it was nice of you to look out for your neighbor. He's nosy. He had ulterior motives. No. But anyways, it's coming up to that time of the year where people are getting caught up in the emotion of giving, and the scammers want you to give to them with it all. So we all need, no matter how clever we think we are, we all need to be aware and be on our toes and be skeptical. Pat says, yep, did the air conditioner water heater thing, lifetime paying close to $400 a month. Shame on me. Oh, Patsy, you got to do something about that.
Yeah.
You've got to do something in it. You got to fight them tooth and nail. And if it needs to involve a lawyer, you need to involve a lawyer, because I would say that there's probably some loopholes in the contract. You might be able to get them for misrepresentation or whatever. Don't just lay down and roll over and play dead on something like that. So anything to finish up, there was a comment from a couple of weeks ago that I've been saving that I want to talk about. Are you have someplace to
No,
go?
no, no.
What
Go
is
ahead.
there a
Yeah.
problem
No,
here?
no.
What
Go
is
ahead.
something
Yeah.
behind
No,
you?
go ahead. Yeah.
Whatever. Um, so I had mentioned somebody had asked me, said about they wanted to come up to, they're an American, they want to come up to Niagara Falls, see the falls and everything, and they wanted to know what I could recommend or whatnot about Niagara Falls. And the first thing came out of my mouth was, don't go there. It's tacky land, to say the least. But anyways, they went. And this is what they said. Hi, Stephen. We just returned home from a trip to Niagara Falls and we absolutely loved it. Because of watching your videos and your heads up on the exchange rate, we certainly add it to your local economy. We love the Niagara Parks adventure passes. The shopping was great. The restaurants all had delicious food. When re-entering the U.S., when the border agent asked us what we purchased, and my husband mentioned souvenirs, trinkets, ice wine, but then he noticed our daughter packed into the back seat by mounds of shopping bags, he's probably like, yeah, right. We had to be well over whatever our dollar amount was supposed to be. Oh, and I enjoyed my morning walks for Tim Hortons coffee. Yum. I have no doubt we'll be back to explore more of your beautiful, friendly country. I'm considering Quebec City next. Okay, very glad you had a positive experience. Um, yeah, Tim Hortons coffee, yum. Okay. What you're drinking in the States must be really, really bad. Yes, the shopping would be, as far as exchange rates, would be much better because American dollar, you get more bang for your buck. Um, the falls is interesting to see, but okay, I'm really glad you had a good time. I guess that's the difference between a Canadian who lives here in the area and someone not. Okay, and Quebec City, well, Quebec City is a whole different ball game.
Mm-hmm.
Quebec City is, if you like Niagara Falls, you're going to love Quebec City, except for the French. But whatever. Okay.
They'll convert to English.
But as soon as you show them money, they'll speak English.
Show the money. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. But anyway, so I just thought that was really funny here. I'm telling them, don't bother, don't waste your time. But apparently it was not a waste of time for them. So good. I'm happy for them. Yeah. With all of that. Okay, so that's it for us for now. Thanks for joining us. And yeah, buyer beware. Don't get scammed. Live a long, happy life. And let's get ready for Christmas, shall we? Okay, we're going to say goodbye. Say goodbye, Walter.
Goodbye.
Bye,
Have a good
everybody.
week.
Have a good week.